this video, we are going to review how to factor when our quadratic has a leading coefficient that is not 1. To get some problems to do, we're going to work on IXL together. So our first problem that IXL gives us is 3n squared plus 22n plus 7. So remember, for these kind, when the leading coefficient is not 1, what we want to do is we want to multiply the leading coefficient and the constant, and we get 21. So we're looking for two numbers that multiply to 21 and combine to 22. So that's a pretty easy one because it would be 21 and 1. Now, because the 7 is positive and the 22 is positive, it means we're going to use positive 21 and positive 1. So now, what do we do with those numbers? Well, these numbers are actually going to take the place of the 22n. So we write down 3n squared plus 21n plus n plus 7. So where the 22 was, now we have 21 plus 1n, and if we added those back together, it would give us the 22. Now we factor by grouping. So we group two terms together, and we find the GCF for each group. So 3n squared plus 21 would have a GCF of 3n, leaving us n plus 7. In our second set of parentheses, we don't have a GCF other than 1, so we just use 1. So plus 1 times n plus 7. Now we have an n plus 7 in both places, so that's one of the factors. And the second factor is 3n plus 1. So we'll go back to IXL and put in our answer. So we had 3n plus 1 times n plus 7. And we're right, and they gave us another one. So we have 2s squared plus 13s plus 11. So 2s squared plus 13s plus 11. So we multiplied 2 times 11 is 22. So now we're looking for two numbers that multiply to 22 and add to 13. Well, we just did them, 2 and 11. Okay, so we do 2s squared plus 2s plus 11s plus 11. The GCF, once we group, the GCF would be 2s times s plus 1, 11 times s plus 1. So our two factors are 2s plus 11 times s plus 1. So now we'll go put that back into IXL and see what it gives us for our next problem. Submit. So the next problem IXL gives us is 2u squared plus 9u minus 11. Our first step, 2 times negative 11 is negative 22. So now we're looking for two numbers that multiply to negative 22 and combine to positive 9. Now because the 22 is negative, it means I'm going to have one positive number and one negative number. So my factors of 22 are 1 and 22, 2 and 11. So 2 and 11, if I make the 11 positive and the 2 negative, that'll give us positive 9. So 2u squared minus 2u plus 11u minus 11. Now we can group it. So our GCF here is 2u, leaving us u minus 1. Over here we would use 11 times u minus 1. So 2u plus 11 times u minus 1. So we'll put that in IXL and see what they give us next. The last problem we're going to do is 3v squared minus 8v minus 3. So 3 times negative 3 would be negative 9. So we need two numbers that multiply to negative 9 and combine to negative 8. So that would be negative 9 and positive 1. 3v squared minus 9v plus v minus 3. Group it. GCF here would be 3v, leaving us v minus 3. Over here the only GCF is 1, so we'll use 1. We have a v minus 3 in both places, so that's one of the factors. And the other factor is 3v plus 1, because those were what the two GCFs were.